Hi, I'm Gaby Company, and this is The Dreaming Show. In today's show, my guest is the awesome Henrique Diaz from Brazil.
Hello,
He's an
hello.
expert in human behavior. Our topic today is how to overcome depression and anxiety with meditation. Hello, Henrique, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Gabby. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you for being with us. Could you tell us, please, what happened to you in the past? Because you told me that you suffer depression and anxiety. What happened?
Yeah, definitely. Well, basically, my life had been great all the way until I pretty much finished my university, and I'd never suffered from anything until then. And after that, I had finished, which was a step that, I didn't know what my life was going to be like anymore. Myself and some friends got together to start a startup company, and we did it. For the beginning, it was great. It was just so much energy, and we were so excited about it. Until, of course, we hit a certain spot that we thought that we realized that our goals were just getting farther and farther and farther apart, and the reality started creeping in, and we realized that we weren't really going to make it. And at that point, I didn't have a job. I was just spending money, and pretty much my whole savings were going. And I started sort of forgetting, like, losing the purpose of life. I just didn't, I couldn't really understand what the purpose really was. And that's when things started getting really difficult. It was just a lot of pain because I would just then ask myself, so what am I doing here now? Why am I not as happy as I was before? And so I was projecting things into the future, thinking that they were not going to work out, and then I would compare myself to the past and realize that I wasn't that happy guy anymore, and this would feed itself into a vicious circle of just bad energy, and just the feelings that creeped in are just so bad, and then got into panic attacks, which are just the worst.
Let me clarify,
experience.
Enrique. What you felt at that time is you didn't have clarity, you didn't have vision.
That's right. That's right. I had no idea. It was almost like an existential sort of crisis, as in why are we in this universe, and just why? What's the purpose of all of this? If I didn't have a purpose, then what was the purpose? And it was basically that was making me so uncomfortable. And the panic attacks, when they started coming in, it was just a spiral. I would know when I had the first bad thought that would start spiraling into another bad one. I'm like, oh, it's coming. Oh, no, please go away. And the more you think about it, doesn't matter whether it's a good thought or not. If you think about that, it just leads into something that sucks all your energy out. And I just pretty much wanted to sit down and close my eyes and sort of let that panic attack take me. It's something that doesn't last long, but it's a very, very painful
For
experience.
people who don't know, probably, what is a panic attack?
Panic attack is basically when your anxiety just goes beyond control. And some people will have panic attacks and they'll faint because their brain just decides to shut down to protect them. Because there's just so much going on, and the feeling is right in your chest. So there's so much being released within your chest, and your brain is pretty much just increasing that release.
So everything is happening inside.
That's correct. And the reason why your body is doing it is because it wants to protect you. It's almost like it knows that you've been in that place before, and it knows it's bad, so it's putting all of that in there because it wants you to escape. It's like that flight or fight situation. But the thing is, when this happens, you have nowhere to go because the issues are coming from in here. It's not like there's someone chasing you. You can just run away from them. It's you chasing yourself. You can't go anywhere, and it's almost like you just have to sit it out. And it's a very, very awful experience. Who has had it knows what I'm talking about. Those who haven't, I'm glad you didn't, because it's something that I've never experienced anything as bad as that.
Okay. You mentioned that you did meditation. Could you tell us, please, how can meditation help you?
Yeah, I had no idea what to do with my life at that point. Went to a psychologist one day, and it just didn't help me much. And whatever books I was reading, I just, they would work for the little meanwhile. I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. It makes me feel good. And then after a couple hours, I'd stop believing in what I'd read. Yeah, exactly, would just disappear because I was just trying to solve a physical issue intellectually, and it wasn't really helping me. And then I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go to Australia. At that point, I was in Canada, and that's what really triggered me to come to Australia. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. This trip's going to change my life. And I started feeling good about the trip before the trip happened. And unfortunately, when I got here, it just got worse. The matter just got worse. And then I thought to myself, well, that was my last option. Now what? Like I came to Australia and I'm feeling even worse than when I was in Canada. Like that whole purpose of things, it had lost itself. And it wasn't until one day I was hosteling in Brisbane, And I met this guy in one of the hostels, and we were just talking about this whole spiritualist side of things, and really connected on that because that's all I was reading about, trying to overcome this issue. And then he told me, he was like, I just did a meditation course. It was really interesting. It's a type of meditation that doesn't require you to believe in anything. There's no religious beliefs. It's purely scientific, and everything that they do in the meditation, they explain to you from research done in universities to what's happening inside of your brain. So it really helps you build that intellectually and understand what's actually happening inside of your body. And being an engineer myself, I really like that idea of the science behind the meditation, because there's so many articles on so many different types of meditations and so many benefits that it does, but none of them are like really proven.
You apply the Vipassana meditation.
Vipassana meditation, yes. It's Buddhist meditation, originated about 5,000 years ago or over that, and it's just a type of meditation that all it requires you to do is to focus on all parts of your body, one at a time. So you pretty much work from head to toe to head again.
You need to close the eyes, or it could be open?
Yes, you close your eyes because you want the least amount of distraction possible. So the quieter, the better as well. It's not essential, but noise just distracts. Anything that can distract you is not something good, and that's why you would close your eyes and go inside. And when I ask you, how does the bottom of your feet feel like right now, you can actually feel it, right? If you think about it, you can tell that there's a sensation there. So this is pretty much what you're doing through meditation. And by discovering those sensations and doing that for this course is about, when I said I met this guy, he told me about the course and I decided to do it. And it was 10 hours a day for 10 days straight.
10 hours a day?
That's right. It's a lot of meditation. Of
What
course,
time
there's
did
breaks.
You start? So
4:30.
for 10 days, you didn't go to work, you didn't go to study?
No, nothing, absolutely. You're inside of this camp, pretty much. It's beautiful, beautiful spots. They provide you accommodation, they provide you food, they provide you everything, and it's completely free of charge. It's a donation-based system, and if you want to leave something at the end, you can leave something at the end. If you don't, you don't have to.
Could you tell us, please, could you tell to the audience, where can we find this place?
There's many centers around the world. This is something universal. It started in Burma, actually, and then now in Australia there's a few different centers. There's one in Melbourne, there's one in the Blue Mountains, there's one in the closer to Sunshine Coast, which is the one I did.
So what do we need to search on Google, for example, to find this place?
Vipassana, yeah, Vipassana meditation.
Vipassana Australia?
Vipassana Australia, that will help.
Vipassana Australia.
And if you're in different parts of the world, you just search Vipassana Meditation Center, and there will be something on Google Maps that will pop
and
for
you
you
say
to
it's
find.
free?
It's free,
or
exactly.
Donations?
Donation-based. And at the end of it...
Fantastic information. Thank you, Henrique.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the course, there's no way you're not going to donate money, because it just makes such a difference in your life. And it's almost like you don't have to pay for any medication anymore. You don't have to pay for psychologists anymore. It only takes pretty much 10 days of your life. And what you're doing there, from 4:30 a.m. you start meditating, and you can't talk to anybody. You can't communicate over the phone. They take your phones away. There's no books, no reading, no music. There's absolutely nothing. It's just you isolated, but not isolated because everybody else is around, but you just really feel isolated. And that's when you can work on your issues. Because when there's too much blabbery going around, it's almost people trying to fix your problems based on their inside of reality, but it's really internal. So the more you isolate yourself, the more you can go internally and bring that out.
It's connected with yourself, you're in a peace. I suppose it's the alpha and beta activity.
That's correct, yes. And basically, as you do this process and the days go by and you start going deeper and deeper into your subconscious, that's why for you to do the first Vipassana course, you have to go there for 10 days, for 10 hours a day. And it's the same system all over the world, the same schedule. You wake up at 4, you start meditating at 4:30, have breakfast at 6:30, you have lunch at 11, and you do it. The whole course is very well structured, and it's one in the entire world because it's been working for so long. And the cool part about it is that every night, there's a part where they put Goenka on TV. Goenka is the world leader of Vipassana, and he just talks about what's happening in your brain, what's the psychology behind it, and he explains what the meditation is actually doing to you. So you're actually not just taking someone's words and doing it. It's actually explaining physically what's happening inside of you. And he even says, if you don't want to believe what I say, that's still fine. But if you do the technique, you will start realizing that for yourself. And it wasn't until then that all the self-help books that I've read, that's when I understood what they were saying. But you can read 10,000 books on how to swim, But it's only when you get in the water that you really
When
learn
you have
how
the
to swim.
practice.
Exactly.
When you do the do.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're not going to be a swimmer until you hit the water, and that's when you're going to really learn how to swim.
You
And
know
the same
what?
thing with meditation.
You know what? I can see you now. You look fresh, energetic. I cannot believe that you suffer depression or anxiety before. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Congratulations
Thank you very
for
much.
that
Yeah,
achievement.
it was one of those things that you just stumbled upon and managed to happen to me. I have no idea where I would be right now if I hadn't. Definitely not here. But it's one of those things that it doesn't take long, and it just changes your whole spirit. And that wasn't even on a bad situation. If you saw the people that were in there, that got in with me and that got out of there, they were in horrible situations. Guys at psychiatric wards and people that have been suffering from depression for years and years. One guy who lost literally everything, his wife, his house, his car, everything got taken away from him. And people are just in a lot of pain. And when they come out of that, and 10 days later, and you talk to them and you see the difference in these people, it's incredible. It's incredible. I came out of there feeling like I was on top of the world, and everything clicked, everything made sense.
Before we finish, Enrique, I know many people, clients, that they are suffering anxiety at this moment. Could you tell, please, to the audience one key strategy that they can do to overcome this anxiety or this depression? One key strategy.
Definitely. The one thing that is pretty much key to change any sort of bad feeling that you have is to change what you're doing right now. So if your routine involves going to work Monday to Friday and going to enjoying the weekend and drinking as much as you can, and if you have a routine that's going on and you have a pattern in your life, if you don't leave, if you don't break the pattern and you change something about it, you're not going to change. The depression is not going to go away. Because it's almost like you're digging, that hole just becomes deeper and deeper and deeper because you didn't stop digging. Now you might, instead of dig this place, you dig on the other one where there's nothing, there's no hole over there to start with. So the one thing that you have to do is change something. And if you stick to your own routine, if you stick to what's happening and to the pattern of your life, you're only going to end up in a worse spot. And that's exactly what I was doing. I wasn't changing anything. I tried to change the country I was living in. I tried to change so many things, but the change had to happen in here. It wasn't so much just changing where I was, it was changing how I thought, pretty much. And that's where the Vipassana came in very, very well.
Thank you very much, Enrique.
Thank you, Gaby.
Could you tell us, please, your contact details?
Yeah, definitely. My contact is 0434-764-183, or by email at enrique.cdiaz91@gmail.com. I would love to answer any questions with regards to meditation, and if you're just on the fence about it, you can give me a call, and I'm sure I will tell you a lot more than I did today on why you should really do it and why it is that it changes your life so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gaby.
Thank you very much for being with us. I would like to say thank you to Vergara Collection for this fantastic jewelry. They are the sponsor of the Dreaming Show.
Oh, yeah.
These fantastic jewelry are from South America, Colombia. They are handmade. Thank you very much, Carolina Vergara. Thank you very much for being with us. Gaby Company, Melbourne, Australia. See you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.